Hi,
Hi,
Eric.
Eric. Nice to meet
Hello,
you.
Eric.
Oh, thank you. You could give this word on Eric. Danke.
All yours, Eric.
Okay, and we're going for, I'm looking at the time again. 20 minutes, 25 minutes?
I'll tell you one.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Thank you. My name is Eric. I'm an addict.
Hi,
Hi,
Eric.
Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Eric.
It's good to see some of you faces again. I'm still so glad and blessed that you're still clean, still in the rooms, even in your own room. Our rooms are worldwide. So, you know, it's a interesting time for all of us. And it's an interesting thing to be an addict during what we're all going through. I was on one meeting lately that was worldwide and is a spiritual community that just trying to bring back the positive energy. And so that's what we learn here in Narcotics Anonymous, is to learn this new way of life, but not just keep it. So we go out into the world and we share what we've learned, helping one another. So it's I guess it's brought up the topic of relationships for me lately. In the sense of, in the steps, it's taught me to have relationships. The 3 core relationships is with myself, my God, and others. So, and there was an old timer at the podium at a convention years ago that said, there's 4 relationships that I need to work on here. He added one more in there. He said, in this order is myself, my God, my sponsor, and my home group. With those 4 relationships, everything else will come. And so that's what the steps are teaching us, is all about relationships. So now that we have this you know, this thing going on worldwide that, you know, wants to separate us, be isolated, be safe. It's a difficult place for me, because I don't turn my back on what I learned in Narcotics Anonymous. But then again, I want to be safe. We have laws out here. You know, we have to have social distancing and masks on and certain, you know, in all businesses now in the San Francisco Bay Area. So it's difficult for me to be in this social structure right now and be in recovery, but I haven't forgot. So there's a lot of us that don't talk about the different places that people are, whether you're safe at home and you're going through isolation adjustments, or if you're at home stressed out about financial stability, or if you're not at home and you're with family and you're sheltered down and that stress of being in each other's space a whole bunch can be a whole nother level of stuff. And then there's people that don't have a home, who live on the streets out here, and they're worried about their next meal or all this other stuff. So my recovery kicks in, and I'm the kind of guy that still puts together a few bags and goes around and passes out, you know, some clothing, some food, some water to the people that aren't talked about, to the people that are forgotten. And all this stems back from the work I did in my steps that taught me these relationships with myself, my God, and others. So to get into some more of this relationship stuff, so prayers for the ones that are going through all these adjustments, you know, prayers for your family, prayers for good, healthy well-being. I'm blessed to still have work. I'm blessed to be able to help a lot of people that I care about. But all these types of characteristics and mannerisms and attitude adjustment, my thinking, my behavior, and my attitude, I learned here in Narcotics Anonymous. So just because we're all going through something doesn't mean we're all in the same place either. So I'm going to get into relationships a little bit more. What I learned, and there's these 4 areas of a relationship. The first, you know, in adolescence or primal instinct is physical first, emotional second, mentally third, and spiritually last. So that's how I operated for my whole life until I got to Narcotics Anonymous, and still into many years in Narcotics Anonymous, till I met an elder and took me through a set of steps and said, if you know about these 4 food groups and you're conscious of them, now you can flip the script and go backwards. In other words, stop connecting physically first with people, either through physical intimidation or physical recognition, and start to look at people spiritually first. See how you connect. You can watch somebody spiritually from a distance and not have to be in their space. When they enter the room or the place where you're at, see how they carry themselves. You know, when they enter the room, are they a ray of light or a dark cloud? You know, they walking in with scrunched eyebrows and puckered cheeks, giving everybody a hard time, or are they spiritually at ease? And then if it looks approachable, you know, or maybe they might even have a smile on their face, then you can get close to those kind of people if you choose to. So I always did it backwards, you know what I mean? Physically first. If they look physically threatening or physically inviting, then I would go in. So this is a total flip of the script for me, to watch somebody spiritually first. And when I did it, then the next one would be mental. So if I liked what I saw spiritually in somebody, I got a little closer and I had a mental conversation with them. But it's important to know the mental gaps in any relationship. The mental gaps can be money. It could be city versus country. It could be generational gaps, you know, in age. Mental gaps in particular social flavors, you know, maybe somebody's into, you know, rap or hip hop and somebody's into country music or classical, you know, there's different things that people are into that create gaps. And so if you're aware of these gaps and still able to communicate, and also is the mental exchange mutual, just as it is spiritual. So when I cross paths with somebody and I spiritually like what I see and I get a little closer, you know, is it mutual? On the other side, are they just as invited as I am, or is it just one-sided? And am I totally self-consumed, thinking it's all about me and not being aware of somebody else's space? And the same with mental. So when I have a conversation with somebody and I connect, whether it's extending my hand to a newcomer or sharing some information with an in-betweener, or going to my elder and communicating, is it a mutual exchange, or does somebody always dominate the conversation? Can I get a word in? Is there a mutual respect and exchange of ideas, differences? So if those two are in place, then I move into the emotional part of a relationship, you know, and all these tools that I'm sharing on relationships go with people, places, and things. I have a relationship with everything around me. This is what my elders taught me. And so once I've got the two in place of spiritually liking what I'm seeing, and I get closer, whether it's a person or a place I want to live, or a car I want to buy, or whatever it is, or a meeting, and I like the mental exchange of it, I might even have a conversation with self, with me and my higher power before I get any closer. Sometimes that's as much mental exchange is what's going on. And then if that's there, then emotionally, now I'm set up with those two and before. Now emotionally, I might have a conversation with my friend and say, you know what, how was your day? And I really can be an ear or a shoulder for you, you know, and I hope you can be one for me. And let me tell you, I had a rough day, you know, and I had a couple of days last week where I had some really rough days, you know, at work, and I'm working around the clock, a couple hours of sleep, as is right now. Just woke up from a nap. But sometimes I just need an ear. I just need to talk to a friend and say, you know what, my life isn't easy. And then I get emotional. And is that a two-way street? Do I have that in the relationships with the people that I care about and that care about me? Or is it just one-sided? So these are things I learned from my elders. These are things that were important for my recovery to truly be connected. And once those three were in place, you know, I considered the physical part of a relationship, but the emotional part still has some other stigmas that go with it. You know, I mean, in some of my intimate relationships in the past, you know, I was that guy that got told, you know, well, you're not emotionally available. And I said, no, it's not that I'm not emotionally available. I would tell them that I'm emotionally different. I have different values, and I express my emotional content differently than a woman. You know, there's been times when I've had to tell my partner, like, hey, you know, I'm your best friend. I'm your financial confidant, your protector, your provider, all that. But I'm not your girlfriend. And emotionally, I don't want to sit around and gossip all day like we're at the hair salon. So go get a girlfriend. I'm a man. I have different emotional content. You know, I love you and all that good stuff, but you know, men are emotionally built different. I'm just, you know, an old world man, when he was on the battlefield, didn't get too emotional because he didn't do too well in the battle, got taken out if he was asking for a hug from his buddy. So we're built a little different, you know. If we're hunting for the food for the tribe that night, we didn't look into the forest and say, you know, I can't kill the little rabbit or little Bambi because I'm a little emotional. So I'm like that. I'm like an old world man. I'm built a little different, and I would try to share this with my partners over time and say I have emotional content, but it's different. And in these food groups of the relationship that I'm talking about, it's good to communicate this with your partners and ask them, hey, do I provide enough, you know, spiritual content in the relationship? Do I provide enough mental content? Do I provide enough emotional content and physical content, and then ask your partner what they think they're receiving, and if it's good enough, or if you need to raise the bar, or if you need to negotiate. And they say, you might meet my needs in this, spiritual area, but you fall short in the mental area, and can you kick it up a little bit? And you go, wow, I didn't know that. I thought I was providing. And then it's a two-way street. So then they ask you the same question. And so you get clarity, and you get to be conscious, and you get to meet more direct when you have these conversations about these particular areas. So once the three are in place with emotional content, I just remind, the female content of keeping a better home, more nourishing, more nurturing, have a better, my thoughts are is just, women have a better emotional content than a man. And so I honor that. I'm grateful to be a part of that from time to time. But so going into the fourth one, when all the three cylinders of the relationship are going good, and now I'm going into the physical part of a relationship, doesn't always mean, the primal thing of wanting to reproduce, or, getting the home plate. It also means, caressing, touching, massage, holding hands, pampering, hugs, comforting, physical touch, man, which a lot of us right now aren't probably getting, so be aware, of your senses and your surroundings, and how we connect, and the things that we learn in our fellowship. But these are, again, are they mutual? In any relationship, physically, when I show up, does my partner show up? Physically, when I pull up to the new job, are my cheeks puckered and my eyebrows scrunched because I don't like the job? I don't want to go in. I have a bad relationship with my job. These are things, over time I started to notice, because being clean is great, but man, it raises all the rest of the senses. So now I'm like, things that used to not bother me, I used to walk right by, now bother me. It's called having a conscience. It's called caring, growing into our true, spiritual self and consciousness. So these areas of the relationship, a lot of us didn't get this growing up. A lot of our role models didn't have all four cylinders. They weren't running. They might have been running on physical and mental. They didn't have a lot of emotional content, maybe, or a lot of spiritual content. I don't know what it was like in Zurich, but here in the U.S.
About 2-3 minutes.
The Bay Area, we grew up watching a lot of TV shows that didn't have that content. We had cartoons even, slapping people in the back of the head. So we weren't raised to be respectful and conscious of emotional content and spiritual content. So being trying to improve and be a better human being, because I got clean, and because I found NA, and because I found the steps and worked them many times over many years, I start to care, and I start to want to live better. So there's that chip that shows. I don't know if you could see it, but I'm going to zoom in a little bit, see if it clicks. I don't know if it's picking up. Might be a little fuzzy. Anyway, yeah. It's one of those little NA chips that I carry in my pocket. I thought I reached in and pulled it out. It says 28 years, man, in a row.
Wow, nice. Hey.
Thank you, Narcotic Anonymous. But that's of you, all over the world, doing the same thing we're doing. I didn't do this alone. You know, here's another little piece I thought I'd dig off my wall. Beautiful little NA art. This is our passion, man. This is what we do. So we are the antidote to what's going on in this world right now. The more you improve, the more we all improve. So if you know people out there that are going through these difficult moments, you've got all the tools you need, you've learned to reach out to them, even if it's just over the phone. You know, we talked about it on a lot of different levels and forums, but this really raises awareness to what really matters. What really matters, man, is the care and concern you have for your fellow man, for your friends, for your loved ones, for your family, and for your fellowship. You know, if all the things we've been sitting in these rooms learning all these years, if we don't do nothing with it, man, you know, then what? So this is like our time to shine. I had different thoughts about this meeting, this online stuff. Kind of like, you know, I don't want to sound like a male show. I know it's not a men's meeting, but I kind of viewed it like, you know, fake breasts or something, man. I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's fun, but is it real? Will it do the, yeah, I know. I see you laughing, but will it do the job? You know what I mean? I'm just an addict. I'm just a regular guy. I'm a single guy now. It didn't work for me in my last long-term relationship. I gave it my best. I did a lot of work, man.
So you got to wrap it up now, Eric.
Yes, thank you. But recovery is a long road, and there's a lot to learn, and it's a bottomless pit. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of power questions to think about. You know, what one word defines you? My one word is improvement. What do you want your legacy to be when you leave this planet? How you be remembered? What will they say about you? My legacy, I want to say, he helped somebody, or somebody said, thank you for helping me. I could die right there in peace. I'm good to go. It's been said many times to me over many years. And where do you see yourself 5, 10 years, 20 years from now? What's your life look like? Yes, it's one day at a time, but the more you can define it, the better off you are, the more reality. And if it's a realistic goal, wants, dreams, desires, aspirations, then you're living for something. You know, mine is to have a couple nice places to travel and to live and relocate and migrate a little bit. So, there's probably a couple other power questions, but they're not coming to mind right now. But I want to wish you and your families all the best. Stay safe, no matter where you are, and however you can, reach out and help somebody that needs it, even if it's a good phone call to somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, just to say I was thinking about you. So thanks for listening. Love you guys out there, your NA family, no matter where you're at.
Thanks, Eric.
Eric.
Thank you very,
Thank
very much.
Ronny Süchtig.
Hoi, Ronny.
Hey, Ronnie.
Danke vielmals, Erik. Ich habe